Well, if you were wondering if Radio Entrepreneurs is streaming at this time of year stories, entrepreneurship goes on 365 days a year, 12 months a year, all the time. So we're always on the air, always refreshing with new stories of entrepreneurship. And we want to thank our friend Jim Farrell for introducing us to our next guest. That's Ron Gerace, founder and CEO of Precision Design Engineering. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Much appreciated. Honor being part of this.
Well, why don't you save that to the end? I always think compliments up front are not what I want. I want them at the end. But okay. Ron, I hear you're doing some really interesting things at PDE. I'm a big fan of robotics, been around that area a little bit in my past. So why don't you tell us about the firm?
Sure, happy to. It's basically a contract manufacturing facility. And what our kind of keys to exist are technology enablement. We embrace technology, and in the space of small manufacturing, sometimes that's more on the cutting edge than it is on the standard, as standard operating. The second thing is through that technology enabled, right? We have robotics and automated machines here, and that allows us to be very competitive. PDE was born back in December 2019. I had purchased two companies. One company on this location here in Wareham, Massachusetts, and another company in Scituate, Rhode Island. Merged the two companies together, had this location as the central location. Was able to bring the book of business from Scituate, Rhode Island, from Fitzwater Engineering, into this business here. And that first year, we basically hit the COVID year. So, we did better than the two businesses combined, but not much. And then we grew, and then we grew, and then we grew. And I believe a lot of it is due to, just us embracing technology. Our ERP system is cloud-based, our CAD system's cloud-based, and we use robotics. We use universal robots, UR10E. We have those robots here that help feed the machines. The machines are automated, and so the doors open and close, the vices open and close, and the machine makes the parts and it inspects the parts. So 45-second elevator pitch, but basically that's what we've done. And we've made those discrete investments to kind of enable a manufacturing organization that'll survive deep into the future, I hope.
Well, I mean, you can't just get into robotics like that. And that it's a unique business. You have to have a unique training. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and your voyage towards being an entrepreneur?
Sure. Thank you. Right. So undergraduate chemical engineer, MBA, Bentley College, worked in many different companies, right? W.R. Grace was a company that I started with, which got me a taste of manufacturing. Then the entrepreneurial spirit was born when I went over to Staples, and I was working for the founder of Staples, Tom Stemberg. And, I just got a chance to get to know this guy and kind of why he did what he did. He founded Staples and the passions he brought to it and the hands-on approach to the business. And of course, that was dramatically successful in those early years from, 86 to, into the mid 2000s. And then, I moved over to another kind of, it was a post-startup, Wayfair. So before Wayfair, it was CSN Stores. And so I worked closely with the two founders there, Neeraj Shah and Steve Conine. And of course, those guys were, absolutely, brilliant at what they did. And they really had a vision to do something that, doing furniture online, right, is not the easiest thing. And so part of their belief was, since nobody else is really focused on it, let us focus on it, and we'll make the hard easy, or we'll work it. And of course, very successful business there. And so for me, as I thought about working for all these really smart people, it's probably my turn to go and figure out what I want to do. And as a result, right, my core competency does reside in engineering. I've always embraced that, even though I deviated from it in the retail world. But nevertheless, I found myself, leveraging two facets of engineering. One, just logical approach to dealing with problems, and two, just looking for innovation. I think as an engineer, you want to know there's multiple ways to solve a problem, your quest is to try to find the most efficient way. So an area that I was a little disappointed in, like we kept talking about manufacturing in America kind of going the way of the dodo. And of course, it has declined dramatically over the many decades. And for me, it just felt in 2019 that was something, since I'm an engineer, I wanted to bring some of my expertise and see what I could do in that field. And as a result, bought those two businesses, I said, and basically we haven't stood still since. We first re-engineered kind of the infrastructure here regarding the technology, the computer systems, and right now we're certified to accept military critical documents because of our cybersecurity here. And I have a great staff of people here that help enable it. It isn't just me, but we all share a common vision that that's something cool. So we did a lot of that. And then we made the investments into automation and robotics. And you're 100%. The robotics, it probably took me about 6 months. It's something I knew I wanted to do, but to your point, you have to know what you're doing with it. It's one thing to have it. It's another thing to take advantage of it, right? And so that's what we did. And I spent 6 months kind of incubating with a couple of potential suppliers. And then we eventually picked Universal.
Well, I'll go out on a limb. I don't like to do that too often on the radio show. I do that more in my consulting career. What I have found with a lot of engineering firms is that there is a lot of opportunity out there for entrepreneurial thinkers like yourself, but they really have to get on a sharp learning curve when it comes to sales and marketing. Have you found that, Paul?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. All right. And that's where kind of my prior experience comes into play. The last company I was at 3, right? The last company that I was at a company called Exchange Solutions. And we were trying to bring artificial intelligence predictive modeling to retail. And I was head of marketing, sales, and product. And so, yeah, every day I had to live marketing. I totally understand it. We had a lot of existing clients. We wanted new clients. We had to work with sales organizations and everything like that. And so part of my learning curve includes that. And in the space, I think you're 100% right. You know what I mean? Like, I think that having a minimal or even a good skill in marketing and sales is actually a really nice enhancement, because when you're working with potential buyers and new companies, just, kind of having a feel for where they're going to come from. What are the hot buttons for them? How are you going to address those? Being prepared for the questions and things like that is very helpful. So I find that, yeah, but my biggest challenge is navigating sales and marketing through the military. That's hard. I haven't cracked that code yet.
Again, I'll continue to put my foot in my mouth. Some businesses, you build them from the outside in. That's a typical marketing way of looking at things. Engineers tend to think that they build from the inside out, and sort of, if you build it, they will come. You have a marketing background to go with the engineering background, probably a real competitive advantage for you. Do you have business partners as well?
I do. You mean within the company or outside of the company?
Inside
within the company, I have two key partners here. One of them is a woman that I got to work with many years at Staples, and she's amazing. And she's a really, really good compliment to me, where I can be, very outside in and just kind of, just dreaming the dream. She's the one who will kind of hold that dream, kind of parse it a little bit and turn it into something that people can actually act on. So that's always an advantage. The other person I have is a key person, our manufacturing engineer here. He's the one who makes sure that the floor is doing, working efficiently and properly, and everybody, continuous improvement and making sure that things are, going as fast as we can, efficiently making great products, things like that, right? So I have two people, and I think probably one of the things that I think good entrepreneurs know is they know what they don't know, and they have an understanding of kind of the skills maybe they lack, but that are necessary to be successful. And that's why, for example, with these two folk, right, they're just very complimentary to me. And there are times when we kind of go at it a bit, but I think that's natural for three people who approach things very differently. But the collective, the sum of the parts, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts with us three.
My last question also is, you mentioned defense or government contracts. Who are your primary targets?
Yeah, so we have, our longest military customer is Tinker Air Force Base. And so that's the one in which our initial work was to, again, nothing top secret, but we were able to make the computer housings for the B-2 bombers. And so, and we had to make 21 of them for that, and then 3, that was, so we kind of did a really good job with that. And so Tinker has come back to us for a number of other projects. Matter of fact, we got another order from them 2 days ago. So the Tinker, and then right now we're working with the Defense Logistics Agency. And that's a big one, right? I mean, if you're doing work like us, like what Precision Design Engineering does, and you look in there, it's infinite. There's so much stuff to bid on, quote on, that could be within your wheelhouse and your capability. So a lot of our growth has been that through the military work. We're going to grow. We're probably already at 40% over prior year right now, but the year isn't done yet. Last year we were in the mid 30s. But we've grown because of opening that work up. And again, that the person who works on my team, Jackie Cunningham, she's the one who did that work. I shouldn't drop her name because somebody's going to poach her. But she's the one who opened up the military work through the due diligence of getting our cybersecurity certification and everything like that. But that's really enabled our growth.
Well, we've been speaking with Ron Gerace, founder and CEO of Precision Design Engineering. This is the first interview of, we hope, a few interviews with you over the next period of time. I want to thank Jim Farrell again for introducing us to you. If someone's looking for you or the company, Ron, how would they do that?
So a couple places. Our website is www.precisiondesignengineering.com. And we're in Wareham, Massachusetts. So 508-273-9911.
Oh, great. I want to remind everybody that this is Radio Entrepreneurs.